Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. It's nice because you have people photographing you together. Now it's very kind of officious. Charles is wearing a nice shirt. He's got a pen in his pocket, wearing a nice sort of jacket. Hair trimmed very nicely. Rox, you're wearing a very nice kind of blouse as well with a nice necklace. The background is blurry. It looks like it could be a cityscape, I guess, or a garden. Not much to go on. So what am I looking at here?
So that was actually on the same cruise. On these cruises, when we do publishing at sea, there is a photographer that goes with the group, so that we can get, different kinds of photos that authors can use for all kinds of photos.
Makes sense, yeah.
As opposed to, an iPhone kind of photo. So that particular one was dressing for dinner with the captain's table.
Oh, nice.
And so we were trying to look nice. And there's a glass. It was actually a glass kind of sculpting that's behind us that was reflecting the sun. So it was on the deck.
That's on the ship.
Yeah.
Oh wow! It looks like a sort of cityscape garden because there's a big tree in the background. Okay, nice.
That's exactly what it is. They have their own on board in the ship Central Park with actual live trees and glass, and of course little bistros that you can stroll up and get your favorite adult beverage or coffee or whatever it is, and it quite remarkable, and it made a tremendous setting from what you're describing.
Well, it's a great photo. So how do we turn this into this portrait into something that will uplift a listener to say like, hey, I can go into writing. I can work with your work associates and colleagues, and then that kind of just evolved into book writing. So was there a moment when, was it just the intuition of, oh, you know what, how about we try this?
So in our work, in our professional careers, I like I had told you, I originally hired him and we worked together for a while. Then I went to another company and then he went to another company. And then we ended up back in yet another company, but we were in the same company. And we started doing workshops and teaching others how to use certain kinds of technology.
Okay.
And so we would travel around and do workshops for different people so that they would learn whatever the product was, how to use it, how to install it correctly, all that technical mumbo jumbo kind of stuff. So we did that. And in doing that, we had to create the whole presentation for it. We had to deliver it, all of that sort of thing. So we found out that we could work together and we could have a conversation at different levels. So you've been in a room, I'm sure, many times with lots of different people, and you may relate very, very well to part of the audience that's in that room, whatever part that is. Because we were both delivering the workshops, we could help that whole issue by he could relate to some of the people very, very well, and I could relate to the other people very, very well, so we could make sure we could convey the information. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I guess that's sort of a wake-up call for us saying, we are professionals. We can do this, and it's not just writing just a hobby or a pastime that's like I got nothing else to do and I can wear stretch pants if I want to, but it's also a professional approach to, and it's a mindset. If you see yourself as a professional and what you're doing has a good outreach for people to be able to say, I respect that. I can respect what you're saying. I may not agree with, but I see that you've taken this on as a professional attitude. I think I need to do that too. And that ups your game. It makes you feel like I can do this. I can do it better. And we challenge ourselves all the time. That's where the workshop come into play. Teach me something new. Show me something where I thought I was doing well, but maybe I need a little more help.
Sure.
A professional would accept that kind of input. And that's the other side of that coin. We want to be professionals in everything we do.
Name a time when there was an unexpected response from your readers to the work that you did? Because it's one thing to create the work, but in a way it's really created by the receiver. So, you make the thing, you put it out into the world, and who knows how the world accepts it, whatever. But name a time when the response really took you by surprise.
I can answer that one. We had a reviewer one time. We have a lot of evil characters. You got to have some evil, and of course with the good. But we had one that was particularly unusual in his outlook and his demeanor. And the reviewer picked up on it, and he goes, "I didn't want to like that character. But I felt sorry for him. I couldn't help myself." And I went, "Oh wow, that was the best compliment I ever heard about a character," because it gave him something that was, he was torn between. Right. Here's a guy. He's a freebooter, but I felt sorry for him.
Right.
I felt sorry for the circumstances that he was written into. So it was a very satisfying comment.
Was there a moment like that as well for you, where you thought, "Oh, wait a second, that's surprising"?
So there was, and it was another comment from somebody who kind of follows the series, and we had a character that was, she had a tough life, and she was in some ways very repulsive and somebody you didn't want to relate to, and she was always, messing with people, and she was a bad guy. She was totally a bad, evil cyber thug, as it were. But in the stories, we decided for some reason, she kept talking to us saying, "Well, I was bad, but I don't want to be bad anymore. I want to be good." And so we evolved her and put her into a situation where she could, in fact, redeem herself.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody that had followed us had commented and goes, "I have hated this character and hated this character for 4 books. Now I have to like her."
Oh, great. That's great. Well, so how much of what you do is consciously manipulative?
I don't know that we do consciously manipulative. Other than hiding different threads in the stories.
A lot of times, Rand, it's the character telling us what they want to do. It sounds silly when you say it like that.
Nope.
But it's like, I'll get up one morning, I start writing on something, it's like the character's like, no, send me this way.
Right.
Here's what the story threads needs, and that's what the character wants.
Yeah.
It just it's that simple. So manipulative, no, because we're storytellers. This is what the story needs.
So does it manifest as a kind of so for example, you have the characters that over time, in a way, we hear of authors talking about, writing their characters, and at some point they have to kill their character or whatever, and that it creates a kind of a trauma almost, a sense of loss because they've invested a year or 2 or 5 living within that character. So why don't you talk about that part of being an author that is oddly, extremely emotional? Do you understand my...
Yep. Yeah, so we have a couple of characters that that are good guys and have been very good guys, but they've reached a maturity level. They've reached an age where they need to die. And so orchestrating or writing about how they die and what their legacies are is almost part of a pre-grieving process, because you know that they're going to go.
Okay.
And so, we're not kids, and so we've experienced a lot of that kind of a personal emotion that we can pull into the characters as well. But we've had several that we have lost. They're gone. But in fact, we have another character who talks to that person, just in kind of like, hey, you were so important when you were here. I just want to sit and talk to you, and that. So because that's a reality.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to talk to those that have gone before you. Sometimes you just want to bounce something off a wall. So we've done both of those things.
And a lot of times that helps another character evolve as well, because their experience, you can exercise the reader's mind by saying, okay, there's obviously a loss here. How are they dealing with it? And is that how I would deal with it? Is that realistic? You write this kind of transaction carefully, it feels like, you're there. You can empathize with it. So it's not just we're going to back a character. It's also how we're going to use that emotion and leverage it for building, because it's like a conveyor belt of characters coming through storylines, moving forward.
Unless it's a bad guy. We've been known to off bad guys really easily.
Okay. So have you had training in arts like theater, for example, where in theater, you really have to absorb and inhabit other characters in ways that, I mean, look, arguably it's playing make-believe, but at a depth that is far beyond, say, what a child may do, although a child will lose themselves in make-believe in a way that, say, an adult wouldn't. But do you mean, like, have you had training in drama to kind of help you better understand how to become a character?
Right. I know I did drama when I was in high school, which was it was more than a few years ago.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, you kind of get an empathy for what the behavior of somebody should be, which is one of the reasons that we write well together, because we can say things to each other like, there's no woman on the planet that would ever say what you just said she said.
Okay.
And vice versa.
Right.
So that's part of how we make the voicing so even, because we can each go, no, that's not the right word. Yes, that's perfect.
Okay.
Well, my drama's been informal. Girlfriends that blow up, and people shouting at me saying, "Charles, why isn't this done?" So that's all the drama that I need to be able to get me to write.
Got it. You just go into your happy place of
get my comfort food, all that stuff. Yeah.
Sure. So is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw.